folks, here we are. Money Rider lads are back round the table. Well, not quite today, lads, I'm afraid, is it? But needs must and all that. It's been a long while since we've been able to get together and do a video. Obviously, the jump season is just around the corner. Obviously, really excited for that, lads.
Oh yes.
So, as always, we always do one of these videos. This is our ones to watch for the coming season. Yeah, what can we say, lads? Obviously, really excited about the jump season coming up. I've gone for a few sort of lesser knowns, one for a better word. I don't know what you lads have gone for. So let's find out then. Let's kick off then. I'll tell you what, let's start with Jamie, because I know Jamie's got a few he likes to talk about. So come on in, Jamie, you can kick us off.
Okay, so the one that I've been looking from last season, and the one that I'm looking forward to is You Wear It Well, trained by Jamie Snowden. Is a 6-year-old mare. Her form is 5 times winner, finished second twice, and finished 5th at March in the mares hurdle. Been a fantastic servant for Jamie Snowden, I thought, and won very well at the Dawn Run Mares Novice Hurdle. Before that, she won impressively at Sandown in the Jane Seymour Hurdle, and I would expect she'll be racing like a 2-mile, 4-mile furlong races. But I would like to see her carry on over hurdles, not over fences, but you just don't know with Jamie Snowden because it's all early days. And I think she'll school. She's been schooling well over hurdles and over fences, what Jamie's been told. And I think she could go a bit more, have a bit more of a playing for her this season. So I think you'll be seeing her in March, I would say. But yeah, very good mare as a 6-year-old.
Okay, all right. Should we just go around the table a couple of times then, lads? Just do that, shall we?
Yeah, why not?
Do that? Yeah.
Keep it fresh. Go on then, Sean.
Let's do the roulette.
Well, I know me and Mark are probably more. We've gone down to what impressed us most last season. So I know we obviously as a team we've been speaking. Obviously, Jamie loves his unique and wonderful and does a bit of digging. We know that. Glenn, you saying you've come up with you've gone down that route this year, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
trying to pick out those gems.
Very early doors, like for
yeah. So you see, I'm going to start off strong as I always do, the same way I always do, as we were just discussing.
Yeah, so we all know that is
with Mr. Mullins.
Mr. Mullins.
Not too much of a shock there. I've got to be honest with you. Like I said, I went down the route of what impressed me last year, and they still have scope for more. So I went with El Fabio. Absolutely fantastic season last season. I think the only blemish was going down. I think it was like a neck to John Bon at Aintree. We can always put that down to a little bit leggier performance, and to still only go down the neck to John Bon after doing what El Fabio did at Cheltenham.
Yeah,
an impressive run round. We know what that gap between Cheltenham and Aintree isn't big enough sometimes for the winners of that to go on to win at Aintree. So we know how that can affect their performances. So looking forward, and I know we always do this, and me and Mark mostly look towards the highlight, the pinnacle of Cheltenham and where they'll go. I see very little that can really lay a twig to an Energumene if that's the route for the Queen Mother. Now, watch how El Fabio ran and jumped so freely at Cheltenham. I think anyone would be foolish for that to be the clash going into the Queen Mother, because you can't see Shishkin going that way again. You can't see.
No.
You don't see many that really laid too much of a glove on an Energumene when Shishkin's not involved or when.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, exactly. Unless something's going to come through that's going to be amazing, sort of thing. What's already out there that's going to.
Sorry, Sean, just a quick one, because you mentioned about Energumene. You think that could be the possible route that El Fabio could go down for the Champions Race. Do you think Energumene's latest performance that we all saw run at Cheltenham, which was, it wasn't what I expected from a horse of that quality. Do you think at the moment, he gets the favouritism over that race in the current market?
Well, it's all going to depend on the start of the season, isn't it? Really, I'd imagine if you look forward to if you look forward now and you look on Bet365, for instance, or somewhere like that, or Unibet, whoever, and you go the anti-post route, 9 times out of 10 at the start of the season, it will just be the named horse that will go off as a favourite. So as a like champion hurdle, you guarantee, regardless of the route they take Constitution Hill, you can guarantee that it'll be favourite in that race. So Energumene, because he's the named horse in that. If you were to look on the betting, possibly I haven't looked yet.
He got 2-1, El Fabio, 3-1, and Energumene. That's on Unibet.
Right, well there we go. So even on the back of that performance.
Yeah.
But on the anti-post bet, you're going to get all these shorties with Willie Mullins and all that. Who's going to be ripping the absolute nightmare of it.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. There wasn't a part of me, like I said, these aren't ruffians that I've tried to pick out to get these massive 20-1s.
Yeah,
there's none of that in what I've gone down. I went down the route of there were 6 and 7-year-olds that impressed last year that you could see still had scope for more and actually bigger. Maybe this season and better from what they did last season. El Fabio, especially with the performance that he put in and the little rivalry that he had with John Bon and things like that, showed that his jumping ability could at times be almost flawless and really didn't put a foot wrong at Cheltenham and for the rest of the season in theory, other than obviously at Aintree. But again, you can put that down to a leggy performance after the season he had. So for me, one of my starlets will be, no surprise, Willie Mullins, but El Fabio.
Okay, mate.
Sorry to butt in. Very quickly. I've got a funny feeling again. I think the double green Stilks are going to do well again because I thought they've done really, really well in the National Hunt season, and I think you better keep an eye on them again. I think they're bought quite well again. All these French, recruits and all that, and I think the double green. I think you're going to be. Keep an eye on them again this season. I think they'll do well again.
Glad you said that.
Well, I'll let you in on a secret. I'll pick the double green, but we'll come to that. Come on in, Mark. Go on in.
All right, Sean, you've got your love out. So, we've let you get your love out.
Sorry, it's a family show, Mark. Come on.
Sorry about that.
I was going to say, I was hiding it.
Look, it's great to be back. Great to be talking about everything that we all love. I'm going to go straight into it. I'm going to go down the sort of route as what Sean has just done. I'm also going for a Willie Mullins horse as well. And this is a horse that she's a lightly raced mare, but I think she's got a lot more to come from her. And it's Lossy Mouth. I was really impressed with her last season. Like I say, she's only had the 6 runs. She comes second in her only defeat at Leopardstown, beaten by 2.5 lengths to another Willie Mullins horse. Excuse the pronunciation, but I'm sure it's Gala Makier. If someone's going to say I've pronounced that wrong, then I apologise well in advance. Probably going to
get a mistake to start the first show with that, Mark.
To be fair, I'm going to mention that also as well at some point. It's not one of my picks, but
you want to do it. So to all you founders out there who follow us, if I did pronounce that wrong, I sincerely apologise. You can slander me and not everybody else on the team.
Start until I say it.
Yes, until you. Oh, please don't, Glenn. Yeah. But look, it was hard to try and find, many horses that I think performed to the standards that I wanted them to. But Lossy Mouth to me, after seeing her perform at Cheltenham on the Thursday when she won the JCB Triumph Hurdle. Yeah, it's unfortunate we wasn't there, to witness it. Straight away, I thought this horse has got to go to the mares next year. Yeah. I think the mares hurdle all over it. And again, we can talk about anti-posts, which I'm sure, by March next year, Sean's going to probably have about 20. I'm going to probably have about 30. That's what we all do. I've already placed one today. She's the current anti-post favourite with our good friends Unibet at 7-2. I don't really see anything else in the mares division yet at the moment that I think could take her on from what I saw last season. She's won very well at Punchestown. And I'll say her only her only second place in that, she landed on the hind legs of another horse. I'm not going to pronounce the name because I probably will get that wrong as well. So I'll let you look that one up.
Yeah, that's you've got me there. So
a horse called Jour de Fate or Jour de Fate, however you want to pronounce it. Sean's looking at me like thinking, "What are you doing?" But it's too hard. Try my hardest to pronounce.
You're brave. You're brave. I'll give you that.
It's close. It's a card kept close to Willie Mullins' chest, and I think that it's she's only a 4-year-old, so I think she's going to have a very good 2 or 3 years. But I think next season is going to be vital to her. But I think the mare's route
wasn't that the race before the festival, just before the festival, and everybody went in doubting her.
It was,
Yes.
yeah, because there was lots of talks of her that she was.
Oh, I saw so much talk on. I mean, I had Lossy Mouth in an acca, and I wasn't worried one bit of that acca going into the festival. And I saw so many people on social media. I'm like, did you not see the same race as me? She clearly clipped, got knocked all the way to the back, and still chased down the leader, and only just got done. So yeah, I wasn't worried about that race at all.
You know, she's clearly got pace, and she clearly thrives at them sort of races. But you know, that's what people tend to forget when horses have those, those accidental collisions in races, despite how well they're travelling. It knocks them. You know, if you hit a fence hard, you hit a hurdle, or like whatever.
It's like an athlete running on track. If they clip something or catch somebody else.
That's just like flipping the hurdles, like on the athletes and all that.
Yeah, exactly, mate. It's the same principle.
To me, that's the difference. Like, to me, that's the difference between people who know horse racing and don't. You know, you can watch it live, you can watch it on the telly, wherever. As soon as you see a horse make a collision of a fence like that, if they do manage to come back and get the result, then fair play. They've really come back. The jockey's got a hell of a job on their hands to do that. But I won't say too much more, but I'll say it's a Willie Mullins double header. Full selection of mine and Lossy Mouth for One2watch.
Right, okay. Well, that actually leads quite nicely onto one of mine. I'm going to lower my glasses so I can see my computer screen back here. I've actually gone for a Gordon Elliott Gigginstown horse, which is a mare, and she's going to be heading for the Mare's Novices Hurdle, it would seem so. It's a horse called Brighter Days Ahead. Now, this is an interesting and also sad note. She's actually a half sister to Mighty Potter that we lost. Obviously back in April at Fairy House. She actually fetched herself, this half sister for 310, €1,000 in the sales in June. So she's been a bit sort of, rapid in respect that, she's come through quite quickly. She's won a couple of starts. She won in February by 13 lengths. And in April, she won by 4 lengths. On that day, second was like 25-1. So they kind of made a mockery of the field, really. But, the closest of any match to her was second. And then, and even that wasn't really any kind of, any kind of real, glove on her, one for a better word. Just one to keep an eye on. She's, let's say, half sister to Mighty Potter. She seems quite rapid, to be fair, from what I've seen. Gordon Elliott was described her afterwards as a seriously good mare. She's 8-1 for the Mare's Novices at the minute, and William Hill was slightly bigger at about 14-1. So
let's hope the genes all running down to the.
Well, yeah, that's it. When you're looking at that, Jay, and as you say, Sean, not one that, like you say, you can hang your coat on, sort of thing. You know what I mean? But shown a lot of early promise, and like you say, Jay, you hope that that bloodline is there, maybe. Whatever you think about Elliot, he knows a horse. Do you know what I mean? Whether you agree with his style or the way he conducts himself, we're not debating that today. He described her as a seriously good mare. So let's hope that he's right. And 8-1 for the mares, and obviously races going on this season. You might get a decent price here and there, but who knows? Obviously, that will soon happen if she does prove to be maybe as good as he says she is, and we'll have to wait and see.
100%.
So that's Brighter Days Ahead then for Gordon Elliott and Gigginstown for me. Jamie, what's your next one then?
The next one is a Midland Park racing horse. So a couple of years ago, I did mention Mary's Rock. So this one I'm going to mention By the Grace, who's a 4-year-old who's out of the sire of Blue Brazil. Who's obviously, we know that the Blue Brazil is famous for siring Constitution Hill. She's only run only once, which was a Southwell race in a bumper, finished second, got beat by a 40-1 shot, but that was just the first run. That was behind Hot Fizzy Lizzie. That was an Alan, I think it was either a Dan Skelton horse, I think. So I think she's got a fantastic relaxing attitude. We've seen her at the stable visit. She's got a great temperament, just like Constitution Hill. I could think that she'll have one more bumper, I reckon. And I definitely think that she'll go over hurdles after that straight away. I wouldn't be surprised if she goes over hurdles this season. And I think it'll be very interesting following her career, because they do like her a lot over there. And I've spoken to one of the owners, and he's quite into her, and she's got a great temperament.
Yeah, looking forward to the season, no doubt.
After the race, after that bumper race, even Nico said he'll do well. She will do well with a bit of digging the ground, and even Nicky Henderson, the trainer, said that they all like her. So I think things will be looking up for By the Grace. So there's a few like Midland Park, but the one I like definitely is By the Grace. Yeah,
okay.
definitely.
All right. Well, let's keep it moving around then. Sean, what about you for the next one?
So, two-tone green Willie Mullins again. No surprise. Just to catch everybody off guard.
Two-tone green.
Do you know what? That's what I'd call it. That's the point I'm at now with this. I must at least have one or two in every single one that we've done for this thing, and we have been doing it for what?
To be fair, Sean, you've always been sweet on the old two-tones ever since I've known you, really, and ever since you got me into the sport. So
obsessed with them. But this one in particular, for me, only 4 runs last season, but for me was the most impressive Cheltenham winner, Impaire passe.
Oh yeah.
And I'm talking across all of the cars. Don't get me wrong, there were some great races. Obviously, we had, obviously the Gold Cup with Gallopy was impressive. Constitution Hill, we had all of those. But I've watched the race back, and as far as flawless goes, that was as good a race, as good a horse as you could get around the course like that, in what is notoriously a tough race in that respect. And Willie Mullins threw his out in the ring with quite a few in that race itself. But the towing he got just on the inside, stayed there, wait for that little cutaway as they turned for home. And there was just
I'll tell you, mate, if that horse doesn't continue to show, it's as good as you. I'll eat my own at, mate.
Yeah, 100%.
That looked a seriously good horse last year.
Because it's so impressive. And it was a very competitive race on the day. So it wasn't just how the horse went about the race itself, it's how the horse went about.
Make me excited for it already.
So look, only four races to go off of last season, but like I say, that one was the most impressive. And again, I'm looking more towards where these horses are going to be going to next step. Now, obviously, the talk of Constitution Hill is going to go on until the actual day of whatever they decide to do.
Yeah, of course.
We know exactly that. We know people are going to go for or against chasing. Yeah. That's their decision.
Yeah. But hurdles.
I mean, hurdles.
Right, you.
We know what that horse can do over hurdles. I do believe that horse could just stay and destroy the field and create a legacy there. But people want to see competition. They want to see that competitive nature and see what they've got. If you take Constitution Hill out of it, Impaire passe, surely the champion hurdle has got to be next step.
Yeah.
The attributes are there. The horse is flawless over the jumps. He's got a great turn of foot. Again, things will change as we know on the season. 5-1 at the moment. If you look on anti-post betting, it's still quite short. I get that, but unfortunately, Constitution Hill is from what I can see, anti-post favourite from everything from the Supreme Novice to the Gold Cup at the moment, because they haven't got a Scooby what they're doing with it.
Oh, well, he's shown just how good he is. So
yeah, 100%.
It's controlling the market,
Yeah, so you've got to kind of try and look a little bit deeper. And a horse like Impaire passe that we looked at, the turn of foot, the jumping ability, again, will run predominantly over in Ireland. I'd imagine we'll only see that horse over here at Cheltenham. But like I say, we do hold that as a target, like a lot do. If that's the case, this is a serious contender.
Yeah.
To run a really good race at Cheltenham in the Champion, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I'm sticking with my guns. I'm sticking with Mullins. But that, mostly for me, because that was the most impressive horse last season.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know anyone can disagree with that, really. I think that was brilliant last year.
Yeah.
Mark, what's your next one then, mate?
Well, just like Jamie, I'm luring away from Willie Mullins. I'm now going for a Nicky Henderson horse. And I'm also going down the Midland Park racing route. And I'm going for the mighty Marie's Rock as a one to watch for next season. Feisty mare, wouldn't you say, Jamie? Just to kick things off. This one?
Oh my God, yeah, very feisty. Just like my wife.
There we go. Knew that was there, yeah.
I hope she's not in earshot.
No. Listen,
No.
we're talking about a
Thank
horse
God.
who, you know,
She's not brave enough.
she defied the odds by winning the mares, you know, and I thought that was a sensational performance in that. And following that up a month later when she won the Irish Mares Champion Hurdle, and you know, like she was just in a fantastic bubble. And you know, for Midland Park Racing, that was huge. You know, that was huge for them. You know, like you know, they're a fantastic racing syndicate as a whole, anyway. But to have a mare as, again, I use the word feisty. You know, we had the opportunity to go to Nicky Henderson's yard. You know, see quite a few of runners from NPR, and you could just see that, you know, just, you know, trying to parade her. She just wants to go racing. She wants to run. She wants to go. You know, like, and she has that in every race. You know, like when you read up the, you know, you read up the reviews of every race that she's in, and it's always Nico's having to hold her. You know, because she just wants to go. And
she's energetic type, isn't she?
Oh, she's very energetic. And, you know, Nicky Henderson made a comment about her before, but, you know, that she just wants to go racing. There was the talk from, you know, Tim, I believe, was saying that, you know, there was the talk of going to 3 miles. You know, obviously, the option was there to go for the mares. The stayers as well. It didn't quite click for her in the mares this year. And at the end of the day, it was Honeysuckle's day. You know, the Irish was there in their numbers, and, you know, they stormed their home, and it was just meant to be that Honeysuckle won the mares. But for me, what's made me pick Marie's Rock for this season was her performance in the Liverpool Hurdle.
Yeah.
You know, going up to 3 miles. And I can only say, apart from she lost I think it was the left hind shoe that I think she lost mid-race in that one. But when you look at the horses that she finished ahead of, you know, you've got Flooring Porter, who is a former Stayers winner. You know, you've got Dashel Drasher, you've got Champ, Pulling Up a Storm, you've got Home by the Lead, which was unfortunately pulled up in the race. And I feel, for me, it was wrong jockey's decision, because I thought that she was travelling so well in that race, and everyone was like, it's question marks on how she's going to get on, running at that distance, running at a different course in Aintree. And I thought she ticked all the boxes for me. I thought she was fantastic. I just thought it was a slight wrong decision from Nico that cost her the race in that. Again, I like looking at anti-posts. 14-1 for the Stayers Hurdle. I think that's the route that she will go down. I'd love to see her go down the Stayers route. Jamie, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think the Stayers will be the route this year. She's a 9-year-old. She'll be. Is she a 9-year-old? 8-year-old? 9-year-old?
She's an 8-year-old.
8-year-old beat, and then going on to 9. I think that's quite. That's the right age for going for the Stayers. I think that's
sort of right timing, isn't it?
Yeah, good timing. And when you talk about the that Aintree hurdle, you could see Nico was on the bridle, and I think the breeding was there for her to stay the 3 miles, because she's out of a sire called Milan, who's won the I think it was the St Ledger, or the St Ledger or something. Yeah. And I think
I am still here if you can hear me, boys. I think the wife.
there you go. You just got off. Not worried, but I think she'll definitely will stay 3 miles. I reckon they're going to be. I reckon she'll go for about three or 4 races this year.
Yeah, I think she's going to be lightly raced this year. I mean, you know, I don't think she'll quite go down the, as Sean mentioned about Constitution Hill. You know, we don't need to mention about that horse, because that's just, you know, I mean, that horse can win races with 1 leg, let alone 4. But I think, I don't think she'll be as lightly raced as Constitution Hill, but I do think she will have maybe 2 or 3 races prepping her up and, you know, getting her ready to go. For the start, she's a real serious contender for the Stayers division this season for me.
I think she'll go.
Playing about a bit, lads. Carry on.
I think she'll go for that Rikill, or I wouldn't be surprised she'll go for the Cotswolds hurdle. So but
We'll
that
see.
3 mile, I reckon the pedigree's there for the 3 miles. If they've done that as a prep run for the entry after Cheltenham, I think they've got it now. That was the 3 miles.
Well, there was the
she'll be all
talk as
right.
well, wasn't there, Jamie? Obviously, I actually, like managed to get a little conversation with Nikki Henderson, regarding Marie's Rock, and like with all the other horses that was there, like I said, she was the smallest out of all of them, but she was the fastest out of the lot, and you can see that for me, she's bred to run long distances, and like I said, the Stayers Hurdle's always been a tough division over the years. What we've seen, with the past winners. I'd love to see her go down the Stayers route. Obviously, that's just my opinion.
I think so as well.
They tried it last year, and I think if there's anything to go by the performance that she had in the Liverpool Hurdle, I think I can't see any other route. So, back, Glenn, lovely to see you again, young man.
Yeah, sorry about that. The old Wi-Fi playing up. It's not very strong in this room here. It's a bit weak here, but...
So, yeah.
Try and put 50p instead of a pack of like 20p. Put 50p in.
You know me, Jay. I'm far from a technophobe, but I just can't seem to get it, any better here. I don't know why. It don't matter what I try, but... Anyway, hopefully better Wi-Fi.
Over to you,
Over to you now, Glenn.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep the love for the Irish going, Sean. So that'll please you. I'm actually sticking with another Gordon Elliott, so I'm opposing him in some respects. I'm going for a horse. Actually, I misled you a little bit because this horse is a little bit more known. I'm going for a horse called Irish Point. It's in the Jerry Colom's or Colomb, have you pronounced it? Colours. Was quite unfortunate not to see off Supreme Novice Hurdle winner Marine National back in the Fairy House in December. Ended his campaign with a Group 1 at Aintree, Sean, as you was mentioning earlier on, in the Mersey Novices Hurdle. Has won 4, got 3 seconds and a third, to his name from 9. So it's not nothing to sneeze at there.
Yeah.
Not short of a bit of speed. It's been tried over a couple of sort of trips. Highest ranking or rating, we're going to call it, was over the 2 mile 4. So it looks like that would probably be, where it might go this year. They might target the sort of 2 mile 4 bracket, or area. That's always been quite contested of late, isn't it? We've had some decent horses, and then we had a bit of a barren spell over the 2 mile 4, and then we've had, so it's all a bit, isn't it, as you say, a bit up and downy. But given how well it ran at Aintree and won at Aintree, you could probably see maybe stepping up even further as time goes by. So it's one that I think remains open to a bit of improvement, and then would warrant a bit of respect, if it gets a softer ground. It does seem to, fare better on a softer ground. So we could see those sort of famous colours, another good one, really. If it's like I say, it's one of them. It's not so much set the world on fire per se, but hasn't really done a lot wrong, and given a little bit more time and and a bit of good ground that he likes, a bit of soft ground, should I say, that he likes, we might see a better performance this year. All right, so that's me. What about you then for your next one then, Sean?
I've gone consistency with this horse. I thought it was very underrated throughout the whole of the season. Stage Star.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because okay, yes, not one of the horses that you would say shines and not an exuberant jumper, doesn't put them to the sword, doesn't necessarily win by 10, 15 lengths going away. But I think was hit with a lot of disrespect when winning the Turners. Now, just because you've got the likes of obviously Mighty Potter, who obviously before the incident ran there, underperformed, appreciated, underperformed, I think unexpected part, whatever. It's catch-22, isn't it? Because regardless of these horses underperforming, Stage Star didn't. Went and won the race.
You can only go and do your job, right? Yeah.
The horse went and run the race that it was set to do, regardless of what the others did, and won it well. Spent the whole season winning well, actually. I think other than again, 5th of 5 out at Aintree, which again, you kind of just allow that to go. It's one of those things. End of season, it's fine.
Yeah, you've got to make some allowances, surely.
Yeah, again, look, don't get me wrong. You can't just use that. I'm fully aware that shouldn't be used as an excuse every time. If the owners, jockeys, trainers believe that the horse is in good spirits still after Cheltenham and they send it there, then you would expect a performance. Unfortunately, as punters go, and we've been doing it long enough for you know, that's not always the case. And unfortunately, the legs do show. So regardless of if they think that's the best thing or not, that's just factual. That's what happens, that, the horses get leggy. So I'm not saying ignore that fifth, move on, but take that aside. Stage Star won 4 out of 5, coming second in the other. But because it wasn't as impressive, it wasn't as exuberant in the jumping, it's not an electrical. What it does, what Stage Star does and does very well is its job. Solid jumper, doesn't make mistakes, corrects itself very well, goes away from fences well to keep the movement going, and is just a very good horse. Again, I say that I'm taking those that are going next year, the Turners, so we move from there. I do think being Nichols, I think will definitely throw Stage Star in at King George on Boxing Day. I think he always goes in with a strong hand. And again, if you're talking about a horse with consistency in a tough race, if the King George hasn't proven how tough a race it can be, and you need a horse that can jump well, then I don't know what race does. Many good.
As the old saying goes, jumping is the name of the game.
Well, exactly. And many horses that have gone there that have impressed before, and everyone goes, "Oh, look how electric they are." Lost in Translation was one of those that would, could jump 3 fences high. But then but never showed up at King George. And consistency.
There's a few been found out over the years, as you say.
So okay, the next step would be Gold Cup from there. Obviously, that's the natural route in that sort of stuff. But I think Stage Star, I think it'll be more of a journeyman horse, like the opposite almost to Marie's Rock, where won't have a lot of runs. Whereas Stage Star, I think they could throw it in every weekend almost. If I'm honest,
Paul Nichols normally tends to does that as well.
And I'm going to be honest with you. Again, I know all 3 of these are obviously all in the limelight last year. They're all Cheltenham winners. But they are all also horses that can go on to bigger and better. They just started there. They're all just 7-year-olds. Stage Star, again, like I say, I'm sticking with the horse that showed what, like Jamie just said, the aim of the game to jump. Not always the greatest, but just consistent, a proper jumped horse. Glenn, for years, the sort of horses that I've liked, those that do the job. Native River, Many Clouds. These weren't horses that were show. They would fight, and Stage Star has got grit about it. So and again, I'm going to nail my colours to the mast, like the NPR fans wherever they are on here have done the same. I thought I'll do the same with us, Glenn, and chuck a little owners group running in.
That's a name that used to make me smile when I used to see it on the old card, Native River.
But that was the same horse. And you watch that horse. It's like when he won the Gold Cup. Didn't win it going away. He has to knuckle down. Not all horses need to win by going away like Constitution Hill and win by 10, 15 lengths.
No, they haven't all got it in them. But
no, exactly. But the horses that I enjoy watching are those that you will get a race out of. And Stage Star, regardless of, and I do feel that there was just not a lot of disrespect. It's probably the wrong word, but I just think that they
underappreciated.
It was an underappreciated and underrated horse from last season, just purely off the back that it just won, and it wasn't winning for fun and I just think that's nonsense when you look at the races as a whole. That's what I want to watch. I want to watch those sort of horses. So
fair enough, mate. I can understand where you're coming from. Mark, what's your next?
Right. Again, I'm sticking with Henderson on this one. I really thought a lot before I actually chose this one, but I've gone with this horse more in the respects of what I've seen from him over the last 3 years and what I think he could do on the Gold Cup on the Friday. And it's the old boy Shishkin. I think I've seen something from him that's made me turn the tire a little bit. This is a horse that's won the Supreme, went on to win the Arkle. And has gone on to bigger and better things since having the wind surgery. Wins a Desert Orchid. Has one of the best races that I've ever witnessed in beating Energumene at Ascot in the Clarence House Chase.
Oh, yeah, it was a belt, wasn't it?
We was there.
We had the rematch 53 days later, and that's when we started to see just the little question marks about him. You know, he was pulled up. He didn't like the soft ground. You know, Energumene, Shrives, he loves that ground. He went on to win, and it was proven in that. You know, I say he never travelled. You know, he had another 262 days off. Made his reappearance in what I thought was a tough race. You know, third in the Tingle Creek to the winner Edwardstone. You know, and we'd seen what Edwardstone had done. You know, come second in the Ryanair. You know, but hit that third last so hard, but still managed to rally on and finish second. Would he have won that race if it weren't for that mistake? I think he could have. And I think that could have changed people's opinions on him. But, you know, winning the Aintree Bowl in his latest race, being ups in trip, I think Shishkin will be aimed at the Gold Cup this season. I think he's got
I think so.
At the Gold Cup. When I look at the anti-post at the minute for the Gold Cup, and this will just give me a little indication. So Galopin Des Champs is the 2-1 favourite. You know, he's going to be. He won it last year convincingly. But his latest race wasn't convincing at all. You know, you got Jerry Colon, that's been mentioned a few times. You know, he's 7-1. Shishkin's there at 10. Brave Man's Game is in there at 12. L'Homme Pressé is in there at 16s. Constitution Hill's even in there at 16-1. You know, you got the Real Whacker. You got Envoy Allen, you got John Bon, Coach Rambler, you know, Noble Yates, Ahoy Signor. They're all like going 20s and 30s. To me, Shishkin stands out. He sticks out like a sore thumb. I think that he will be targeted for the Gold Cup this season. Now, again, like what I reiterated about Marie's Rock being ups in trip, you know, Jamie, me and you was at Ascot back in February, I believe it was, of this year. That was sensational. Pic D'Orhy was being spoken about so much in that race for Paul Nicholls. And Shishkin just, as soon as he jumps over that first fence, you knew that was the Shishkin result. You knew that was the Shishkin.
That bursted Pic D'Orhy's bubble on that day.
Absolutely, 100%. I don't think Pic D'Orhy's been the same horse since. And that's what Shishkin can do to certain horses. You know, we've seen him have his highs. We've seen him have his very lows. I think we've seen a decision being made about on where he's going to go. I think as a 9-year-old going into this season, I think he's got one final shot at glory. And I think that the Gold Cup is the route. He's being targeted. I was looking on the anti-post earlier. The King George on Boxing Day could be a potential route for him, as it's over the similar distance. You know, but I don't know whether you guys agree or disagree with me or not. I don't know if the Twitter world will agree or disagree with me, but I think there's been a few signs of the old Shishkin coming back. I said, me and Jamie was there.
Yeah, I think, like you say, on that Ascot run, you'd definitely say there has been.
100%, you know, and I think on the run around Cheltenham, you know, the pace was fairly quick. You know, he stays on, and I said he clattered that third last, and that's what completely threw him off that race. You know, don't get me wrong. I think Envoy Allen, who won the Ryanair, was a rightful, deservable winner in that race for how he travelled. So I don't take away that performance. But I just think that Shishkin, I think he's in for. You're not going to see him have many runs this season. Maybe 1 or 2 prep runs before that. That's if it is the Gold Cup. That's what the route's going to be. You know, I'll be very intrigued to see, but I can't see any other route. When I look at the Gold Cup listings at the moment, I don't think it's as strong as what it has been over previous years. And I think Shishkin's got an almighty chance for glory this year.
See, the thing with Shishkin, sorry to interrupt, Mike. So the thing with Shishkin this year is, it, like you and I agree, that could be one of the routes.
Yeah.
The problem you tend to find, or you seem to come across, is where they have a horse that has created such a legacy that's kind of hit and miss, got to a point where he is hit and miss, like Shishkin has been, regardless of whatever the situation. I mean, you know, full steam ahead, could go Gold Cup, but also, like you say, won't run many races, and it could get to a point that if the first 2 races don't go as well,
It could change.
It could change and possibly early retirement before Christmas, because this is a horse that has, you know, he's got nothing. He doesn't owe us anything.
No,
in that respect.
no.
It's a horse that has already created a legacy. We have been for years going to Tingle Creeks and Ascot's where we have watched him just tear fields apart. We were there when he won the Supreme at Cheltenham to start this you know, this sort of career that he has. So it will go one or two ways, because he is still a horse. Yes, he ended the season well. You have none of us do. We're not privy to that, but he feels like a horse that will go Gold Cup or will go somewhere at Cheltenham, or could have two poor runs and they decide, you know what, you owe us nothing. Let's keep you safe. Bon voyage, enjoy yourself.
Yeah, it's possible, isn't it?
Because he doesn't. You know, it's not one of those horses that they need to keep throwing back into to prove a point, because there is no point to prove. Shishkin will always go down as a great memory in horse racing anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, he's done a service already, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So he doesn't need to go in and do that. But it would be, and I agree with Mark, it would be just monumental if he could come back and do the Gold Cup after having a season hit and miss like that. It would be something. But yeah, we don't know, do we?
No, it'd be special. It would be special, no doubt about that. Jamie, next one for you.
Next one is Aurora Vega, a Willie Mullins trained horse.
That's all of us. Right, Glyn, you're next.
So, the daughter of the famous Vega colours. So 12 lengths win at Sligo, beating a Little Biggie. But again, impressive at Killarney. And I'm sure he'll be impressive over hurdles this season. And I'm sure that she'll be heading or targeting the Supreme Hurdle at Cheltenham this season. And I think it'll be another big race, you know, winning races in Ireland. And I think she'll do really well in the Supreme. And I think Willie Mullins has got another a stranglehold in the Supreme, I reckon.
Yeah.
That's for me.
Yeah, I think that's a great shout on that. I looked at that horse as well, like you say.
I was impressive. I've watched. I think it was a flat horse or something. It was a pro amateur flat race or something like that. I'm not really sure. And she was just, you know, impressive. So I think she won in so many lengths, and she's just impressive. I just can't wait to see her jumping over hurdles in Ireland and watching her. But you're gonna get short price every race that she runs in, because everybody's going to run away from her.
Sorry, Jamie, do you think she'll follow in the footsteps? I mean, obviously she's a full sister to Fabiolo Vega, and obviously we know that like she's not quite lived up to the expectations of what we all thought. Do you think? You know, do you think? Obviously, from what I've seen from the first two races of her, I think she's a better, quicker. Fabiolo Vega.
Yeah. I got a funny feeling she won't have the quirks that the Fabiolo Vega had. Not the quirks, but I think Aurora Vega is a lot more better than Fabiolo Vega.
She's a lot more straightforward, isn't she? Is what you're saying. So from a jockey's point of view, more of a dream to ride, where Fabiolo had those quirks, those kinks that as a jockey you're probably in the back of your mind. I agree. With Aurora Vega, just looks so more. Right, I know my job. Don't worry. You do your thing. I'll do mine. We'll get round the course together, type thing. Yeah, no, I agree.
I definitely you know, impressed with her. So yeah, that's for my one. Aurora Vega.
Okay, well, I think you lads are done, aren't you? Yours are. You know, I mean, there's no hard and fast rule of how many we have to do. I have got one more, and you'll be pleased to know it is Willie Mullins. And it's also as I alluded. I mean, I've got to be honest, I haven't picked any English ones, I'm afraid, but that's nothing to do with allegiances or nothing like that. It's just the way it worked out. This is also in the famous two tones, as I mentioned, and it's a horse called Zarak The Brave. Switched from the flat to jumps only in 2022, sent to Willie Mullins. It's had five attempts over the jumps, only won a couple of times over the 2 mile mark. To be fair, as Mark, you alluded to, very unlucky to be bumping into Lossy Mouth. Has bumped into Lossy Mouth twice. So that's been unfortunate. And then after that, then bumped into the one you mentioned and you was trying to pronounce, I believe it's Gala Marceau.
That's better than me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think that's right. I'm not holding out up saying it definitely is, but I think it's right. As you say, Mark, in the famous honeysuckle colours. and that was over in France at Etoile, if I've pronounced it right. So yeah, met some tough competition along the way. So maybe you have to forgive that 2 out of 5 mark. You know what I mean? Like 2 wins from 5. So maybe you have to sort of forgive them a little bit for that. So yeah, just intrigued to see how that sort of two-tone green goes again, as you say, Sean. They know how to pick a good one. And yeah, just interesting to see that, maybe without Lossy Mouth in the way or Gala Masso in the way, I mean, you might see, a bit more, a bit more consistency, and some decent wins this season coming up. So
yeah.
So yeah, so that's my last one. I know, Jamie, you've got a couple more. I have got one more. I'll save that just for a minute. I'll let you mention a sort of few more you'd like to give us a mention.
Right, I'll do mention 2, and then I'll go with you, and then I've got my last one.
Okay, mate.
So my other one is the Home Presse, trained by Vanessa Williams, who's an 8-year-old, winner of the Brand Advisory Novice Chasing Cheltenham Festival in 2022. Obviously, we saw him running in the King George unseated, jumping the last fence, got unseated last time we saw him. I won't be surprised he'll be heading for the King George again, in my mind.
I think we all expect another good season, I think.
Yeah, I think they had a bit of a setback for him. So obviously he's, had a bit of recuperation and a bit of time off from that. I think I don't know where he will start in his campaign this season, but he's got very good form behind him. Hopefully he'll carry it on from this season, and I wouldn't be surprised he will go to the King George and he'll be aiming for the Gold Cup. And it'll be 2 reasonable good prices. I haven't seen anything, but I think he's got an each way selection for the King George and for the Gold Cup. And if I did have an anti-post bet, I would go for the Home Presse each way for the Gold Cup and for the King George, because I think he'll be in the first 3 or first 4.
Well, before you move on, I sort of on the back of what you're saying there, though, like Jay, like it's a double-edged sword, isn't it, lads? Because obviously we want to see horses perform regularly and win races, but then we also want to see the competition.
Yes.
And and it's that same old, I don't want to go down the road too much, but it's that same old football thing, they haven't won this, they haven't won that. But only one team can win it. So yeah, same with La Home Presse, like I put in some brilliant performances last season. And as you say, Jay, sort of hit a stumbling block, whatever, do you know what I mean, what you're going to call it? But at the same time, you'd have to look back at them races and go, well, yeah, but there was good horses in those races, and we still got to see a great winner on the day or whatever, for argument's sake. So yeah, as I say, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
He's still got age on his side. He's an 8-year-old, so he'll be running as an 8-year-old, and then next season he'll be a 9-year-old. He'll be in them top races. So
and to nudge you a bit, Sean, this is why me and you love this national hunt, sport. We love the way that we get to see these horses come back again and again, and come back from adversity, and you do your like Shishkin type runs, and come back from stumbling blocks and stuff like that, and then of course we've seen the likes of your Native River and your Altiors, that especially your Altiors win, you know what I mean? And it's what makes it exciting to me and you, definitely.
100%.
That we get to see these ones come back time and time again, and also have the chance to come back from a stumbling block. So, so go on in, Jamie. You said you had another one you was gonna, or another couple, but
right. The other one that we saw last season in the Supreme Novice was Marine Nationale. So I've done a little bit of investigation. I've done a bit of writing. I went to planetstorm.com and I saw a bit of a write-up. I think he won the Supreme Novice Hurdle really well at Cheltenham.
Yeah, we backed him on the day, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, he has the talent to do more in this National Hunt season, I think, because he's a 7-year-old, and he will do well in Ireland. I think he's going to jump fences, no doubt. Reading on the Planet Sport article, he's saying he's got talent. He's heading for the Arkle, and hopefully the trainer has mapped out what he's got to do going ahead for him. And interesting how he does this season. I think he's got the size and scope for jumping the fence, and I think he'll definitely head for the Arkle. And I thought he was impressive in the Supreme, and I thought the way I watched him at the track at that day when we was all together. I was more than happy the way he travelled and the way he jumped.
Yeah, well,
I think he's got a bit of a talent.
100%.
I think Barry O'Connell's got a very good horse there. Definitely.
Yeah,
he's got from there.
Would seem to be the stable star on what we saw last year, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. What's your one, Glenn?
Okay, well, mine's actually going to be a foreign import. But I say import because he's yet to run in the UK. It's a horse that goes by the name of, if I can pronounce it right, Mark, now I'll be told wrong if I am wrong, called Lasance Blue. He's trained over in France, as I say, and has yet to run over here. Just forgive me while I'm looking at my notes at the bottom of the screen there. It's run 8 times and it's won 5 and come second 3 times. Exclusively all at a tool, if it's pronounced right. And did finish ahead of Zarak The Brave in a race over there. Albeit that was second and was a long, long way behind the eventual winner that day of that Gala Moso again, Mark.
In better.
Yeah. And I say a long way. It was about like that horse won by about 70 odd lengths that day. So it was one of the ones where it got away and they never caught it. So yeah, you know, I mean, I was clutching at straws a little bit in that respect that he's run into one already of ours and struggled massively. But that's not to say that, you know, we might see better of it. We might not see it at all. Who knows? But it just seems quite interesting. You know what they might do. It's 4 this year. And you know, obviously having sort of put most of the horses to the sword over in its native country, you know, it'd just be interesting to see if they fancy a stab at taking us on, you know, at some point. And you know, given the fact that he's yet to run here, you know, it might be worthwhile keeping an eye out. You might get a decent price for a good horse, you know.
Definitely.
You know?
Who's going to be training? Who's going to be training him or her?
Do you know what, Jamie? I wasn't even sure the name, so I don't think I even wrote it down.
Oh right, okay, no worries.
It's not a name that jumped off the page. You know, I mean, I'll be honest. I hold my hands up. I don't know too many French trainers, but I don't believe it was a sort of with a bigger name of the French trainers. You know.
And who's he going to? Who's he going to go to? Going to what? Willie Mullins or Paul?
No. It's not going anywhere. It's just one that while I was looking at the form of some of the others, I just noticed that it had a good record. Like say 5 wins and 3 seconds from 8.
Right.
You know, it's not really anything to be sniffed at. Okay, yeah. Depends how much you look at, into French racing. I mean, I've got to be honest. I say I'm not the biggest fan of the French racing, the style they do. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I'm not a massive fan, but maybe some you are, maybe some of the people that watch are. But like I say, it did beat Zarak The Brave quite well, and but then on the downside was a long way behind Gala Moso. So over in France. So it'd just be interesting to say, just one that I saw that we might see on over this shores this year. Who knows? It might not happen. It might not happen. But as I say, just one for people to keep an eye out for. Should it come this way,
one to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one that we can't really say anything about. But
it's just another one
than what he's done.
It was just another one for me, Glenn. I mean, I've not really got any notes on him, to be honest with you, because we actually spoke about him on the group chat. Sickle Power, which is the son of Annie Power. In how dominant he was in his first 2 performances at Ballymore and Galway, or Galway, excuse me. So I said not too much to really put on the notes down on that one, because there's not we don't know what sort of route he's going to go, but it's another William Mullins horse, and yet again he's got a fine horse in his stars. And if there's anything to go by what Annie Power done, it's going to be another
in for a treat,
as Sean just said. One to watch. So yeah, that's just another one just to throw out there.
Yeah, that's fair. I might say that's what it's all about. Just like say anything that may cook your eye or may prove to be a good one. You know what I mean? That's why we all follow
times, because you can talk about these new up and coming horses like what we've done. Like I think Jamie said about Aurora Vega. We don't really know too much about her, but she's got less of the quirkiness in her than what Fabiolo Vega did has. And I think that she's a brighter prospect than what Fabiolo Vega will be and is. And I think that she'd be more exciting to see her run at the Cheltenham Festival if you know, she was to go down the same route as maybe trying for a Supreme. You know, we don't know. But this is why we all love this sport. You know?
Yeah, well, exactly, mate. May long it continue, you know. So.
Oh, we will continue.
Can I just mention my last one?
Yeah, well, I was just going to round up and come to that. So go on in, mate.
No,
Let's move on to your last one.
The last horse is Nurse Susan, trained by Dan Skelton, a 6-year-old mare, who's only ran four times in her career. Her last run was in finishing fourth in the Ryanair Mares Novice Hurdle at Cheltenham. I think she'll stay over hurdles again. I won't be seeing her over fences because I think she hasn't got the size and scope. She'll be running in graded races, but they've got plenty of good mare programs, and I think she'll get some black type. And even so, if they do have to go fences, it could be an aim. But probably she'll stay. I would say about 2 miles, 1 furlong, or because I don't think she'll get further. I'll be surprised, but she could. But as she's side by Dr. Dino, I'm sure she'll find her medicine and do really well. So there you are. That's my last one.
Yeah. Well, you know, they say we just love this sport, and you know, like I say, we'll go anywhere. You know, our fans will travel, won't we? You know, I mean, we'd go anywhere to watch a bit of jump racing, and you know, and not every horse has to be, you know, odds on or a banker for the festival. As you say, Jay, you know, obviously, yeah, we love the festival, but you know, we just love racing full stop. So, you know,
exactly.
We all have a little bet here and there, don't we, throughout the whole year, and whether that be like Ludlow or Exeter or Hexham or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you mention. It's saying we're not here to say to people, well, you know, that these are absolute stone bankers for the festival. It's just something that we love talking about, and you know, these are ones that we think might do something, or as someone says, you know, might kick on. We you know, we could be wrong. Anything can happen. We tragically lose them, which is obviously terrible. We know. So who knows what's around the corner? No one knows what's around the corner in life. So you know, you just get on with it, sort of thing. You know. So
just one final thing for myself, Glenn. It is Sunday, the 10th of September. We are currently 184 days from the fourth of the crowds of the greatest show on turf.
Okay, all right. It's about the festival with someone then.
May this be another fine, exciting, and thrill-seeking national hunt season.
Let's hope so, mate. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Cool. All right, folks. Well, there you go. That's our ones that we like for this upcoming season. As you say, some new ones, some unexplored, some as Sean, you know, alluded to. You know, ones that we hope may go on to bigger and better things this year. As you say, Sean, routes change, and maybe something won't be in their way this year, whereas it was last year, and we'll see. But obviously, we all, you know, all got the thrills and spills to come. Then
please tweet on Money Rider /Money/Rider on Twitter or and please subscribe on our YouTube, and please comment down below.
Yeah, definitely. As you say, that's what we do. Like you know, that's why we started it all. Well, what? By me, 10. What are we talking about? About 6 years now.
6 years. Must be 6 years.
Must be about 6 years, isn't it? Yeah. That's, as Jamie says, that's why we do it, folks. You know, we just love talking about racing, and you know, maybe you'll agree, maybe you'll disagree, but yeah, get involved and let us know, and we'll sort of see you again once we penciled in the next video.
Yes, indeed.
Right, take care, folks.
Okay.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.